What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. This is the 41st episode of Corvette Weekly with Vet Syndicate, Horsepower Obsessed, and today we have Protective Dad Pranks on. Jason, front seat driver, couldn't make it today because he is out doing adult work. You know, we're here playing on the internet and he's actually being an adult. So some of us work for a living, I guess. Jason's out there in the cold. It's pretty cold down there right now, right, Steve?
Yeah, we're expecting snow tonight.
Snow in Texas.
I got you sweating. Yeah, I'm sweating. I'm cold in here.
That sucks. But anyway, guys, it is just going to be me and Steve for tonight. We do have an interesting show here for you tonight, though, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm going to give a quick shout out to all the guys that I see in the comment section here that are here pretty much every week. We got Great White North Corvette, Corvette Forever, Brian, Jason, he's still here. Front seat drivers in the comment section, so if you guys want to say hi to him, he is here technically. We got Shane, Learning Fast, Cole, Elijah, 2020 Matrix 8. General Lee is in the house, of course. We're going to talk a lot about him in a second. This is actually his car down in the bottom right of your screen. That is his brand new C8 Corvette Z06. We're going to hopefully get up close and personal with that thing next Monday live. So stay tuned for that one, even though this one hasn't started yet. Jet Driver, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in, everybody. So like I said, we do have a really interesting show tonight. We're going to talk a lot about the new announced E-Ray. We're going to talk a lot about the Z06 and specifically something that the Z06 just accomplished that frankly is a heck of a feat. If you haven't seen it yet, the C8 Corvette Z06 is in fact the 2023 Performance Car of the Year, and Motor Trend as well as Road and Track both gave it that title. So the reason why that's so awesome is because of some of the cars that it was going up against were freaking ridiculous. So the fact that it won means a lot of great things. Dad's Garage is here. Blown 6th Gen. Guys, again, thank you for tuning in. Chris Raleigh says, "Good day, guys, from Melbourne, Australia." So we got the guy from over the pond tuning in. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to talk a lot about the giveaway again tonight, guys. We are on the channel giving away a set of C8 Corvette radiator grill guards from Scrape Armor. These are the ones you want. If you want to protect your C8 Corvette and not lose the warranty, that's how you do it. So these are brand new in the box. They're typically about $400. Every $10 donated will get you a chance, an entry into the giveaway. And at the end, we're going to choose someone who wins, which will be February something. I got to check the date here. It is going to be 3 weeks from today. So February 6th is when we're going to announce the winner. So if you want to win that's a way to do it. The link up at the top of the super chat will also get you entered. But if you want to grab that Venmo QR code right there on the screen with your phone, that will get you right into the ability to donate straight to Venmo, which gives back all of the money to the channel here, whereas the super chats, YouTube takes a really steep percentage of it. So we would prefer you use Venmo if you're going to donate, but super chats or Venmo will get you entered every $10. And Steve's keeping count of it, and he'll put your name on a little wheel, and we'll get that all situated for you. But yeah, let's see what we got going on here. Blown 6th Gen, yeah. Still see those boxes over there, but he's working on it.
Yeah.
Vet Sweetnoss, I agree. I'm taking the Z06 all day. Not to say that the E-Ray is not an awesome car, because it is. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. The E-Ray is possibly the better bang for the buck, but in my opinion, I'm still taking the Z06. But we're going to talk about why here very soon. But I know we did this before, and before we get too much into this, I'm going to do it again because I want to see if it's changed. I'm going to put a poll up in the chat here. I want to know your opinion. Are you going to get a Z06? If money's not an issue, and you could walk into the dealership and buy the car right now, would you get the Z06 or would you get the E-Ray? I'm going to put it in the chat here as a poll. Please let me know which one you're taking. Okay. It is in there. So go ahead and make your selections. Like I said, I'm kind of curious if this has changed at all because last time we ran this, it was very heavily in the favor of the Z06. Yep, I agree. Protective dad pranks.
Hey, I wouldn't even, not even a question.
What's up, Andrew? Thanks for tuning in. Slow car, my dealership charged me ceramic coating. Oh, ouch. General Lee, that hurts. The only reason that hurts as bad as I'm saying it does is because typically they don't actually use real ceramic coating at dealerships. They use some generic thing that is going to wear off in a couple weeks. So I get we had a conversation about exactly why that happened for you, but yeah, it's tough.
$5,000 for ceramic coating?
It's not even an actual ceramic.
Dang.
It's from a dealership. It's,
I know.
I mean, you can get the actual ceramic coating from Blackout Tinting, which involves a polish of your paint as well. Like when they did it on my 01, my 01 literally looked like a mirror. And then they ceramic coat it. They cleaned up everything. They did the barrels and the faces of the wheels, the face of the caliper. They literally did everything. And I think it was $1,600. Like it. Yeah. And if you're putting ceramic coating over top of Expel, it's half that. So yeah, it's up there. But I mean, it's a lot better than what other people are paying for their Z06s nowadays. So all right, so let's get into some of the information here, guys. One of the biggest things, actually we got a Venmo already. So let's call that out real quick. So it looks like who donated? Steve Robertson.
There he is.
Sent $50. So he gets entered 5 times for the giveaway. And he said, in celebration of 2 months until spring. Man, it feels like it's going to be a lot longer than that. I really hope it is only 2 more months because I'm about done with this already. But, yeah. Stupid Fast Truck, that's exactly right. It's basically a markup, but I'll tell you what, I'd take a 5K markup over some of the other ones. And we're going to talk about some of the other ones today. If you guys didn't see Speed Phenom's most recent video, he went pretty in depth into this because there are a lot of people charging ridiculous amounts of money over for a lot of different C8 Z06s. You thought GM had this problem solved, right? You weren't going to get a warranty and this, that, and the other. There's loads of Z06s being sold right now on Auto Trader, Car Gurus, all these other websites, and they're $250 plus. So they're easily getting over $100,000 markup on these cars. And the next person buying it doesn't care that there's no warranty. It's insane. I mean, what GM tried to do is not working at all. People are still selling these cars. I mean, we saw that one sell at Mecum for $250, and that was I think it was a 108 or 112, I think MSRP, something like that. So that guy literally made almost 150 grand on the sale of that car. Yeah, General Lee says he's getting a PPF next week. Then he's going to bring it back. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, while it's there, you might as well have them. No, it's not real ceramic, so it's not a big deal. But normally, you would have to polish the ceramic off first. The chip shortage is over. I think it's pretty close. I don't know if I would necessarily say it's 100% over, but it's close. And we're close enough that we really shouldn't be seeing these marked up deals anymore, but we'll see. Yeah, Vet Sweet Nos, that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. So the E-Ray being what I would call possibly the performance bargain here of the C8 Corvette lineup is because of that and a couple other things. But whenever we were first talking about this car, if you guys can remember, it was last Monday, we were talking about the fact that this car was going to be about $89,990, so $90,000-ish is where it was going to start. Now, if you actually factor in the price of the car minus the carbon ceramic rotors, we're actually at 90 grand. So we were technically right. The fact that the carbon ceramic rotors are mandatory, we'll say, or not, they're not an option. If you get the car, you're getting the carbon ceramics. That is a very expensive option from GM. So typically the actual cost of just the rotors alone are around $8,000. So if you take that cost off of the total cost of the car, you're pretty close to $90,000. So it still prices that car in between the Z06 and the Stingray pretty well when you consider that kind of stuff. Now, when you also consider the performance, the options, and even the fact that it's coming in a Z06 body, you gotta realize this is one heck of a performance bargain, because it actually has pretty much the same amount of horsepower, a little bit more torque. The only thing that lacks on the car, and this is definitely a personal opinion, the only thing that lacks is the fact that the suspension's not set up as much for the track as the Z06 is. And that's totally a personal preference. Are you going to take it to the track? Because if not, that part doesn't matter. Other than that, yeah, Tweety, I'm sorry, that was the other thing I wanted to say. The mag ride is also included. So you're not spending anything additional to get the mag ride or the carbon ceramics. They're included in that price. So again, you're real close to that $90,000 mark, which is exactly where we thought it was going to be. I can't remember if that was last Monday or the Monday before, but either way, we were estimating $90,000 starting price.
But
Blue Vet,
here's the kicker. We know the E-Ray is going to have a huge markup. If people don't think so, they're fooling themselves. I'm thinking $100,000 as well. It's going to be just like, why? Close to Z06 now.
There's no way. At this point, we're not going to get away from that until people stop spending that money. So until everybody stands up and says, nope, not paying over, you're going to have people charging over. It's just that simple. I just saw one posted on Facebook yesterday. It was a base C8 Corvette. No Z51, no mag ride, like literally base. And the guy wanted $15K over. It was brand new, sitting on in the dealership. He said $15K over, and he said on his post, I won't even consider selling this thing at MSRP. Now, I think that's funny because there's other dealerships, like the one Jason went to recently. I can't remember what the dealership was, but there was a brand new C8 sitting right there on their showroom floor, and they were selling it for MSRP, and it was still sitting there. There's one down in Texas that I was looking at. It's a black C8. It has all of the options checked. It's got 4,000 miles on it, and it's $7,000 under MSRP. So you can get these cars right now for at least MSRP. And you can even find them sitting at dealerships at this point. So why anybody is charging over and how they're getting it, I have no idea.
Me either.
But yeah, so guys, again, with the E-Ray, if you buy an E-Ray, you're getting carbon ceramic rotors and mag ride standard. If you factor those into the price of the car, you're right around $90,000. So that puts it pretty nicely in between the base C8 Stingray and the Z06, which is kind of where we thought it was going to be. To make sense for General Motors, it would have to be somewhere in the middle there, and it would have to perform in the middle. And power-wise, it's pretty close to the Z06, but trackability, it leaves that for the Z06. So I think they did a really good job on that car. I'll be honest with you. I was not even considering getting an E-Ray because the Z06 is the one I want. But at the same time, that E-Ray looks a lot more appetizing than it did before we knew the specifics. Now, you also have the ability with the E-Ray, I saw some people talking about over here, to do the shuttle mode or the stealth mode, which is a really interesting idea for people like that drive these things on the weekends. They can move the car in and out of their garage to wash it, or in and out of their garage just to move things around without ever even turning on the engine. So I think that's a pretty cool option, because even comes springtime, I'm going to start my ZR1, take it out of the garage, put it up on race ramps, and change the oil. I would rather not have to start it. I would rather just drain the oil without even starting the car, because all the oil will be right there in the oil pan, or at the bottom of the engine, I should say, because it's the dry sump. I would rather not start it. And in this case, you could do that with an E-Ray. You could just put it in the electric mode and just pull it up on the ramps, and the engine never starts. So it's definitely a cool thing. I do think the E-Ray is underrated, but it really depends on what you want to use the car for. And let's see.
How do you think the battery's going to do?
I think the battery's
Like
going to be.
Well, like a person like myself that always has it in the garage all the time and doesn't drive it. Let's say you don't drive it for 2 or 3 weeks. Do you think that battery's a factor?
No. So it's a lithium ion battery. Lithium ions actually hold their charge really well they have a longer shelf life for battery charge. I would say that thing would have to sit for months, maybe even more, before you'd actually see a dead battery. That is something I've heard come up quite a bit, though, guys. If you haven't seen the video yet, I actually put a lithium-ion battery in my ZR1. And number one, it weighs next to nothing. I think the weight of that battery was either 8 or 10 pounds versus the stock battery was like almost 50. So the weight goes way down. The way it holds a charge is insane. Like I just went down and tried to open my car the other day and it opened right up, no problem. I don't have it plugged into a battery tender or anything because you don't really need to anymore. The battery holds a charge for so long, it can sit for months and it's not going to lose power. Wow. Yeah, so Frank White says one of the bigger tech YouTubers, if you guys don't know his name, he said that he would take the E-Ray over the Z06. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. Trust me, I'm not saying that at all. I think the majority of the people that drive Corvettes probably should take the E-Ray over the Z06. The biggest reason, there's two reasons not to take the E-Ray over the Z06. Number one, if you're going to track the car, the Z06 is the better track car. Number two, if you want that flat plane crank goodness, and that's what I'm all about. Those two reasons, I would not get an E-Ray, I would get a Z06. Now, if GM came to my door tomorrow and said, hey, Justin, we have an E-Ray here for you to test. We're going to let you buy this thing. Yep, sign me up. I'm buying it. But again, if I have my option, if I go walk into a dealership and there's an E-Ray and a Z06 sitting there and I can only buy one of them, I'm buying the Z06. I think that's the better car overall. But that's just because of how I use the car. If you're going to weekend warrior this thing, the E-Ray is probably the better buy. Yeah, 11-second eclipse says the oil it's good to change the oil when it's a little warm. It is, but I also like the idea of changing the oil whenever it's all sitting at the bottom. So you're getting like literally everything out. Someone said the E-Ray battery is the size of a 12-pack. Is that right? It looks bigger than that to me. I would say maybe 2 or 3 12-packs in a row. It's probably the width of a 12-pack, if I had to guess. But lengthwise, it's probably 2 or 3 12-packs in a row. Yeah, General, we're going to talk about that in a second because believe it or not, you may actually be one of the first ones to show that. I just saw on the CorvetteBlogger.com that the exposed carbon fiber low wing for the Z06 was just caught in the wild. And here we go with General Lee actually just got his car. He freaking has one. So, like, no one's seen one of these yet, and General Lee's running around with it like it's no big deal. Yeah, 90% of these people do not drive these cars to its full potential. You're 100% right. Ralph Cruz says, what is the lifespan to the E-Ray battery, and what is the replacement cost of it? So, that's another good question. Again, with my battery that I put into my ZR1, if you guys haven't seen that video, it was a lithium-ion battery, just like the one GM's using in the E-Ray. The same technology, I should say. And the lithium ion will last for about twice as long as a regular car battery. So regular car battery, you're between 3 to 5 years, usually max. Lithium ion is 6 to 12. Or I'm sorry, 10 to 12. So you're about twice the average life expectancy of the battery for lithium ion in my situation. So I would say you're probably pretty close to that with the lithium ion in that car. And let's be honest. I mean, if you're looking at an E-Ray, do you really plan on keeping that car for 10 to 12 years? Most people don't keep their cars that long. And even if you did, it doesn't matter. The battery's not just going to die. It has to be charged and discharged and charged and discharged a whole bunch of times for it to ever really kind of fail. And even then, it doesn't just fail 100%. It will reduce the maximum charging capacity. So instead of being able to charge up to 100%, maybe now it can only charge to 80. So it will always be somewhat useful, even whenever it is on the decline. Yeah, Elijah, I'm about 45 minutes away from Pit Race, which I actually plan on going there this summer with my ZR1. I'm not too far from VIR. General Lee's probably closer to VIR than I am. Yeah. General, I am already fighting the good fight for you to get the scrape armor. I talk to the guys over there all the time, so just stick with me for a minute, and I'll get it situated for you. Maddie's Garage is in the house, guys. One of these days we're gonna get him on the Corvette Weekly. He says, "What's up, boys? Z06 all day long. 100% agree. The E-Ray is a cool car, but the Z06 is the car for me. Thinks." But anyway, I wanted to actually show you guys something real quick before we get too much further into this. And it is over at the Corvette, the mid-engine Corvette website. We actually have a deep dive that was done by a YouTuber or a YouTube account for the Peterson Museum. So where the car actually was. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but the Peterson Automotive Museum has a YouTube channel, and they did what they call a deep dive of information here on the car. And there was a couple facts in here that were talked about that were confirmed from GM. And one of them was right here. It says, for those of you wondering if the black carbon flash accents would be available for the E-Ray, they will. They are an option. The cost is currently unknown, but it's going to be an EFR black accent package. And this has been confirmed by Kirk Bennon in the deep dive video. And they're, like I said, they're talking with GM people. This is confirmed from Chevrolet. So we already kind of talked about this in the last live video I did about how that is likely to be an option, but now it is confirmed by GM. It will be an option. This deep dive talks a lot about the car, and like you can see in the very top here, they show that cutaway option, which is pretty cool because it really gives you a clear idea of exactly where that battery is sitting, which in my opinion is probably not the best place for that battery to sit, but it makes sense in this case, I guess. It also shows you the front motor that drives the front wheels. It gives you a clear shot of that rear engine, of course, and the fact that the car is encased in the Z06 body. So it's a pretty neat video to watch. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, head over to the Mid-Engine Corvette forum. You can see the video there where a lot of this stuff is discussed by GM, and some options and stuff are actually confirmed. Let's see. Yeah. Astronaut says that flat plane crank. That's one of the biggest reasons I would buy that car. Between the flat plane crank and the fact that the car's built for the track. Those are it's just my thing. AARPM, I do play guitar. That is my Ibanez back there. I am definitely nowhere near professional, but I have self-taught myself on a bunch of things. I can play a lot of Metallica. That's pretty much my specialty. Dr. Corvette says GM's not stupid. They know they can make more money on carbon flash accents. Not too many people buy the colored ones. 100%. What'd you say, Steve?
I said Dr. Corvette's in the house. I saw him pop up. So you just mentioned him.
Yeah, Dr. Corvette's a kind of the go-to guy for Z06 right now, I guess. He's got all the knowledge. He's got at least one sitting in his garage. Let's see. Oh yeah, Shane. We only got 70 thumbs up, guys. We need some thumbs ups. I was hoping we would be doing better than that. So you know what that means. You know what that means. That means one of these guys. Give us some thumbs up, guys. It would really help the channel. We really appreciate it. Thank you. The thumbs up really helps. Way more than you might think. Thanks, Shane. You're the man. Me and Shane have something pretty cool coming up soon, guys, so stay tuned for that. Great White North Corvette says Z06 for me. I'll wait 5 years to see how this hybrid turns out. It's not a bad idea. At the going rate of the Z06, you'll probably be waiting 5 years to get one of those anyway, so you might as well wait it out.
So, let's talk ZR1 Zora. Do you think it's going to be now? Do you think it'll probably be a Z06 engine with the E-Ray?
So a friend of mine and I have been talking about this. So if you guys remember the guy that sold me his C6 Z06, his name's Digital Car Addict. He plays video games, but he's a YouTuber. him and I were talking about this before the E-Ray was even announced, and he's constantly challenging me. He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I think we're going to get a ZR1. And I was like, I'm not saying we're not going to. I'm just saying I don't think we're going to. And he said, I could see GM taking the lazy way out and just giving us a Z06 engine and the E-Ray hybrid motor on the front wheels and calling it a ZR1. And I said, oh my God. As soon as he said that, I was like, that's exactly what they're going to do. That is exactly what they're going to do. Because GM, at this point, they have exhausted a lot of money on the C8 platform. Just throw the Z06 engine at it at this point. If they do that, though, then that's the car. I mean, I can't claim I want the Z06 anymore. If they do that, I want that. Because that's going to give you a lot of extra power. You're still going to get the flat plane crank. You're still going to get the track worthiness. And you're going to have the ability to have those front wheels going if you want. Now, the one thing nobody really seems to be talking about much with the E-Ray is how much more control you seem to have over that car. So you can kick the rear end out a lot more. You can do donuts. You can do burnouts. It seems like GM might be loosening their grip on how much that car drives you versus how much you drive the car. And that, in my opinion, is huge. That was one of the biggest reasons why I decided to keep my ZR1 instead of my C8 when it came time for me to sell one of them. I didn't like how much control GM has over that car and how much they would not let you do certain things. If you did a donut in the base C8, in my Z51 I had, if I did a donut, I would have a check engine light that stayed on for 24 hours. It went off on its own after 24 hours, but you would get a check engine light. And you physically couldn't do a burnout unless you strapped the car to a giant block or something like Amelia did.
Mm-hmm.
RT Basie says, I just got here, but I think the E-Ray is several thousand too much. Plus, I would have to pay for the black accents and no high wing available. It really depends on what you want, RT. We've just talked about the fact that one of the biggest reasons why the E-Ray is kind of the best bang for the buck is because if you think about the fact that the carbon ceramics are added in to the price, and so is MagRide. If you deleted those two options, you're sitting at about $90,000, which is pretty much where people thought this was going to be. And you're getting, I mean, if you've had carbon ceramic rotors in the past or not, but that's a really good option to have. I love that option on my ZR1. I mean, that wasn't even an option on the ZR1 either. It was, you got them with every ZR1. And honestly, in my opinion, even if you're not going to track the car, the carbon ceramic rotors are where it's at. It just keeps your wheels so much cleaner. Maddie's Garage says, there is only one thing that I struggle with the Z06 besides the exhaust. What else would you change on it? Maybe have a simple spec and change everything, even the wheels. You don't need aftermarket. That's true to some degree, Maddie, but the same thing can kind of be said about my ZR1. And I thought that same thing whenever I got my ZR1. I'm like, what do I do with this thing? I mean, you don't need to add more power to it. Sure, you can, but you don't need to. You don't need to change the wheels. You don't need to change anything. The car was perfect out of the box. So what do I do with it? What I did was just change little things and make it mine. I would do the same thing with the Z06. I would perfect every tiny little thing, but at the end of the day, there'd be no reason to change the engine, anything on the engine, I mean, other than maybe an exhaust, maybe an air intake or a different filter. That's pretty much it. The rest of it would be little things like ACS rock guards and maybe little add-ons to splitters and stuff to make them slightly more aggressive, expel, window tint, that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, for me, it's not just content. It's the car. I want the car, and yes, obviously my my living is done through YouTube, so I need the content as well, but I want the car. The car is the big thing for me. Wheeler O'Hara says ceramics are far too much to replace during track use. Yes, but there are, I don't know. I have heard a lot of people who track their cars with carbon ceramic rotors who say that they don't need to be replaced that often. That's not me saying that. That's other people. So I don't know. We'll find out here soon because I am taking my ZR1 to the track. I think it's this July. And we'll see what happens to him. I do know I need new tires first, though. D. Henry says, HPO, when do you expect to get your Z06? I'll tell you what, I was really hoping, and GM actually released a dealership note saying that we were going to get Z06 allocations at the end of this month. actually in 3 days from now. And they reneged on that and said, nah, no Z06, just C8s now. I was hoping we were going to get some at the end of this month because I thought maybe my allocation would come up at the end of this month. But now I don't know. Yeah, you don't want to chip those things. I'll be honest with you, Cole. I've had the wheels on and off my ZR1. I use the extended lug nut things from ACS. I actually sell them on my website. They're really cool. You take off your lug nuts, you screw those on, and then you can just slide the wheel off so it doesn't hit the rotor. I've never had any issues. I mean, I've had my wheels on and off that car multiple times and never had a problem with them. C8 ZR1 estimate price. Well, I'll tell you what. If they go the route that I just said with the Z06 engine and the hybrid motor from the E-Ray up front, I would say it starts at 150, 149, 999, 995. So 150 starting price. After some options, you're easily into 200. That is the one thing, man. I talk about this with everybody on my Instagram and stuff. Anybody I chat with, GM just, man, they dropped the ball on the Z06. The launch of this car has been so ridiculous. Nobody can get one, and the people who can either are uber rich or some sort of big YouTubers. Otherwise, you're not getting a car. And even if you did at this point, even if you could magically find one that had gotten allocation, you can't even get the Z07 package right now. And based on that note from GM, you might not be able to get it for the rest of the 23 model year. It's insane. Jerry says, I have 95 HPDE sessions on my front carbon ceramic rotors, but my C7Z is 3,450 pounds. 95 sessions is pretty impressive. What do your rotors look like? Do they need replaced, or? Because you would be one of at least 4 other people telling me that the carbon ceramic rotors don't wear the way that people make you think they do on the track. The chip shortage definitely did damage, 100%. That is definitely the majority of the problem here, and it's unfortunate. But I still feel like GM could have handled it a little bit better because other manufacturers have handled it better. I'm not sure what you mean, Brian. I didn't see you say anything. All right, Jerry said the fronts are near done. So what year is your C7Z? And if you have 95 sessions on them, that still seems like a pretty big deal. BPR Z06 says, rich people, YouTubers, and General Lee. They're the only people that can get a Z06. Actually, Dr. Corvette, too. He has at least one. Joe M says that real racers don't use brakes. I like the way you think. Rears have 82,000 and over 120 sessions. Nice. Top Gear said carbon ceramic rotors don't fade, but the steel ones do. Back in 2012 in Italy beating a Ferrari 458. I can see that. I really can, because the heat difference is definitely going to be substantial. About the Z06 stuff in Insta. I'm not sure. I'm talking to a lot of different people on there about Z06 things, mostly price, whether or not ZR1 will exist, stuff like that. E-Ray will be a money pit dump after full coverage. I don't know. Could definitely be an issue. If it does end up being an issue, it's going to be strictly because of the battery. But let's see, get Steve back in here. There we go. We lost you for a minute there, Steve. You're back.
Yeah, I forgot to put on Do Not Disturb. I got a phone call kick me off.
Boy, that Do Not Disturb will get you every time.
Yeah. But what I would say, we have 202 people watching right now. We're halfway through there. People need to be hitting that thumbs up.
Yeah, guys, if you could please hit the thumbs up button. I can play the media source for you again. I know you guys love this. Please hit that thumbs up. Let us know we're doing a good job. Let us know that you're enjoying the content so we can keep doing this kind of stuff for you guys. And that sounds like a pretty good place for me to tell you about the weekly giveaway, or monthly in this case, I'm sorry. This is the giveaway for this month, guys. It's from Scrape Armor. It is your radiator grill guards for the C8 Corvette. If you're interested, they're brand new. Typically, they're worth about $400. Every $10 donated to the channel gets you an entry. So $10 to the Venmo account, which is actually right over here. If you scan that barcode right there, it will take you right to Venmo. You can donate your $10 or more. Every $10 increases your chances of winning. And super chats do count as well. So whatever you end up donating will get you entered to win those. If you have a C8 Corvette, this is one of the first mods, in my opinion, you should do. So that is the giveaway. We will announce the winner on February 6th. So if you're interested in donating, that's how you do it. It's right there. Right there. Scan that code and it will take you right to where you need to be. Let's see if we have anybody else. Nope, just Steve Robertson for now. I didn't actually even see him in the chat. He donated and I didn't see him in the chat. Jet Driver, I appreciate that. But what we actually need is the thumbs up on YouTube. So if you minimize the chat and hit the thumbs up and then bring the chat back up, you're good to go. Stupid Fast Truck says, do you think the electric motor sound on the E-Ray is fake? I feel it is. Yeah, it is. They've already said that they needed to add a sound to it in order to make it legal because the car can't be completely silent for legality reasons. Great White North Corvette. I think they're going to. He says, I hope they have new colors for 2025. I really believe they're going to. I think one of them is going to be green. The 2024 has already kind of spilled the beans on the colors. And the new Seawolf Gray, it's got me wondering. I'm thinking that might be the color because that's a really nice looking color. It's a very Nardo-esque gray, and I like that. Shane, you're gonna have to take that up with this guy here and the other guy that's not here. He says, "Where's my hoodie?" We're still working on that.
Steve Robertson's here. Yeah,
Steve
Robertson is here.
Just here. He's here, just lurking. We appreciate the support, Steve. Thank you. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. So the Z06 did win the Performance Car of the Year, and it did win against some really high-end cars. One of them being a GT4 RS, which is a ridiculous, awesome car. And the fact that the Z06 beat that car out it really should tell you something.
Check Venmo.
AARPM says, donated on Venmo. Let's see what we got. So AARPM, he donates $30. So he gets entered 3 times to win.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the support, guys. I feel like I don't say that enough. We really, really do appreciate it. You guys are single-handedly keeping the channel growing. So I want you to know we definitely appreciate it. It's not something we just pass off. You're literally helping. It's awesome. Shane says, Seawolf Gray has a bunch of metallics in it too. It's like red mist. Yeah. I heard that it's got a heavy metallic, which is really interesting because most of the pictures look like there's no metallic. I need to see this thing in person is what it is. So how many thumbs ups do we have, Shane? Seawolf Gray is a tri-coat paint that's metallic, yeah. That's a good question. E-Ray Go gas motor only mode. I have not heard whether or not you can do that.
You gotta show that low wing for their hard pack.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to show the picture from General Lee. Sometimes this stuff gets kind of lost in translation. So let me show you this real quick because, like I said, this is an option that's not super common. So here is the pictures from General Lee. This is his low wing, but it is, in fact, carbon fiber.
I like that.
Yeah, it is a really nice looking wing. And for those of you out there who think you have to have the Z07 wing, you really don't. This is a really nice looking option. So, yeah. Now, again, this is something that the Corvette blogger just did a piece on because they haven't seen one of these in carbon fiber yet. And yet, here it is. General Lee has one sitting in his garage. And actually, he was kind enough to send us a video of a cold start of his C8 Corvette Z06 in his garage. Now, if you guys haven't seen or heard a Z06 cold start yet, yeah, let me know. Do you guys want to hear that? Who wants to hear a C8 Corvette Z06 cold start in a garage that looks like it's a man cave? This guy does. I need one person, one other person other than Steve, to tell me that they want to hear a cold start of a Z06. Just one. Kevin Horan's in the house. What's up, man? Jet Driver says, "Do it." Yeah, guys, this is what being a car guy is all about right here. Stupid Fast Truck says, "Sure." Does Dolly Parton sleep on her back? Man, I don't know the answer to that, but sure. Let's hear a rip. Oh, you guys want to hear it? It sounds like you might want to hear it. All right. Let me go ahead and get it switched over here for you, because we are going to hear it. Here we go.
Sheet drive. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? That shot of the
That's
engine
worth
cover.
buying just to cold start it. Just buy it to cold start it all day long. Don't even have to drive it. Just cold start it.
I agree.
Wow.
I would be okay with it just sitting in my garage. I'll be honest with you. If I could walk down there every now and then and be like, oh, hey, there's a Z06. I'd be okay with that. What do you guys think, though, of that cold start first off? And second, that red engine cover. You got one heck of a car there, General. I don't think anybody deserves it more than you do at this point either. Like, I know you were super excited about the car. We talked a lot about what you were going to select on as far as options are concerned. You got an awesome car, man. Amber's watching. She's not even home. She's somewhere watching this. That's awesome. Eddie Boy 1. I'll put it up on the screen, but I'm not going to say it. If you guys want to read that comment, have fun. Brad Carver says, can't wait. Maybe February allocation. I'm hoping for the same thing, to be honest with you. I'm hoping beginning of February, mid-February, somewhere in there. Hopefully something happens for me. Stupid Fast Truck says he approves. Fantastic. That is perfection, says Sonic Cloud. Wheeler O'Hara says, it's very awesome to see that finally land in that garage spot of his. Seen that empty waiting for so long. Yeah, guys, he's been an awesome supporter of the channel. I met General way back, I think it was 2019, Carlisle. He's been an awesome supporter of the channel, a really awesome dude in general. And yeah, we've literally watched his garage sit empty, and now he has that car that I would have to say is his dream car, and it's sitting in his garage. I think that's fantastic. Ricardo, no one's saying not to drive the heck out of these cars. If that's what you want to do, absolutely. I would plan to do the same. I mean, I drive my ZR1 anytime I get a chance. Now, I live in Pennsylvania, so that chance is limited to 6 months out of the year, but during those 6 months, I drive it anytime I get a chance. With a garage like that, who needs the rest of the house? 100%. Yeah, Great White North Corvette, that's a great question. I was actually going to ask him that. General, do you plan on having that car at Corvettes at Carlisle this year? Because if you do, we should talk. I like how he has a recliner chair. Yeah, I do too. We will drive the F out of them. Nice. All right, so we talked about some things. Hold on one second. Green Rush says, Justin, here's a question. When allocation for you becomes available and you can't order the Z07 package, will you still get it? Yes, I will. I will, only because it is good for my channel, which is my living, my livelihood at this point. If I were you and someone who doesn't make their living on YouTube and you wanted the car, but you wanted the Z07 package, I would wait. That's my honest 100% honest opinion of the matter. I would wait if your livelihood does not count on having that car. Jet Driver, I didn't know you were in Erie. That's pretty cool. Yeah, in Erie, you have it even worse than I do. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna talk about one other thing real quick, just because it was in the title here. I don't want to forget about this. And that is the C9 Corvette. I know. We're talking about the C8 Corvette, and it's not good enough. It's not good enough anymore. We need to talk about the C9. GM Authority has it on authority that the 2029 year will be the first year we see the C9 Corvette. So I know all of you guys are excited for the C8 Corvette Z06. We're excited for the E-Ray, maybe the possibility of a C8 ZR1 or Zora. But guess what, guys? 2029, the C8, the C9's coming. I thought for sure it was going to be 2030, maybe 2032 before we saw the C9, but GM Authority is saying they have heard 2029. What do you think of this? Do you think, first off, I know it's ridiculous to even be speculating on this stuff right now, but at the same time, it is something that popped up. It is Corvette news, and it's coming from a relatively solid source of information here. So what do you guys think about the fact that we could see a C9 here very soon? And if we scroll down a little bit, they actually talk a little bit about the fact that they were told this from a pretty solid source as well. So it is very likely that this will happen in 29. There is a very slight chance that 29 is the year that they announce it, but it doesn't actually switch over until 2030. If I had to guess, that's probably about right. I think 2030, just because it's a nice round number, would be the year, but we'll see. Ralph Cruz says by the time 2029...
Just think about that, 2030. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Just think about 2030. We're getting old.
Oh, man, I was just thinking about that earlier today. I was like, man, I remember whenever I was super stoked. I was like excited as heck because I just got a 2009 Cobalt SS Turbo. I was pumped. That was like the coolest car I could have at the time.
Well, you know how old it is? So last week was the year when Marty McFly from Back to the Future came to the future.
I know.
In 23. Isn't that crazy?
His future looks a little different than ours does. But yeah, Ralph Cruz says that by the time 2029 comes along, cars will be flying instead of driving on roads. People have been saying that for a long time. I know, even like Steve just said with Back to the Future, there was flying cars, and it's like, we don't have flying cars, and they came to this year. So General Lee says he's 57. He's old. Huh. I'm 38, and I feel kind of old. Let's see. What else do we got here? Any idea of production numbers of the E-Ray compared to the Z06? They have not said anything about this yet. They were pretty quick to tell us that there was going to be a certain percentage of Z06s built with every C8 Stingray. They have not said anything about it with the E-Ray yet. Stupid Fast Truck says, hey, the Cobalt had a C6 steering wheel. It did. I'll tell you what, in my defense, my Cobalt was an SS. It was the turbocharged. I had it tuned. I had blow-off valve on it with aluminum charge piping. The thing, it moved. I had almost 400 horsepower to the wheels of a front wheel drive car that weighed like 2,800 pounds. So that thing moved. But yeah, I mean, obviously my head has changed a little bit with cool cars. Thomas Downey Jr. says, I can't afford a real vet. I have a Traxxas remote control, highly modded. I'll tell you what, those Traxxas models can get almost as expensive as a real car anyway. So you're probably still doing just fine. With the C9, I wonder if they will do any internal combustion engines or all electrics. I've heard a rumor so far, and I'm going to say this is a rumor because I have not heard any substantial evidence to the fact, but there is a rumor that GM is still working on internal combustion engines. Something was put out talking about that they're funding small blocks and all this other stuff still. Whether or not we will ever see that remains to be seen. But I think ultimately people see that news and they automatically run with it thinking, okay, there it is. GM's definitely doing internal combustion engines. That does not mean that we're ever going to see it or that it will ever be in a car that we wanted it. It may never ever find its way into a C9 Corvette or a Corvette in general. So that was a long way of me saying, I don't know. I think if I have to speculate, I don't think the C9 will ever have an internal combustion engine, especially if it comes in 2030 or later. Cole says, I did not know Cobalt bad. What's that?
I said, or they're just covering their behind if we ever get a real president in that says, no, this electric stuff's not working. Because just like Toyota's doing that.
There's more to it than just that. But if it gets to the point where they realize you can't push all electric cars during this time whenever the grid can't handle it, blah, 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 yeah, they're going to need something to fall back on. And if GM's smart, which they are, they have a backup plan. They have a plan B, and it's going to be internal combustion engines. So they're going to want to have that stuff sitting there as a possibility for sure. Cole, what did you mean by what you said about the Cobalt? As weird as this sounds, and some of you may remember this, there was a commercial, probably the early mid-2000s, that played from GM that is still one of my favorite commercials, and it was a Cobalt sitting behind a C6 Corvette at a stoplight, and it drove up and bumped the back end of the Corvette, and then it moved up. Then it drove up and bumped the back end of the Corvette again, so the Corvette moved up again. Then it drove up and bumped it again, and the Corvette like spun wheel and did the donut, spun around and was facing the Corvette and turned its lights on like it was like angry at it. And the commercial said that the Cobalt was just trying to find its place in the Chevy lineup or something like that. It was a really good commercial, and it actually is an interesting segue because a lot of people I know that have Corvettes actually had a Cobalt at one point. So that car apparently is the springboard to Corvettes. He says, sorry, punctuation matters. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was a classic. I knew General was going to see it. I remember watching that. I was probably just barely old enough to drive. I can't remember exactly when that aired, but I don't think I even had a car yet. If I did, it was one of my very first, and I might as well not have had one. Will the E-Ray go sub 7 minutes at the ring? I don't think so. It kind of doesn't seem like the Z06 even did at this point, since we still haven't heard anything about it. If the Z06 didn't, I'm thinking the E-Ray won't either. But I don't know. If the Z06 did by a good margin, then the E-Ray probably could by, a couple seconds less. The suspension is going to make a huge difference on the Nürburgring, of course, and the suspension on the E-Ray is not as good as it is on the Z06 as far as being track-oriented. I shouldn't say it's not as good. It's not as track-oriented. Send Venmo.
Can you check Venmo, please?
Joey B. Let's take a look here. Sorry, buddy. I did get that alert, and it. He says, Justin Dropboxed you a link of my 2023 anniversary Z06 cold start. Nice. The competition has started. So he gave us $20, so 2 entries. He has a Z06, but I don't think I'll be able to download that and get that played tonight, Joey. I will definitely have that for next Monday, though. So, guys, Joey B is starting a competition. I don't know how many of you out there have a Z06, but let's run with this. If you have a C8 Corvette Z06, and you want to enter into the competition of cold starts, send them to me. Send me a video of your Z06 cold starting. I like the idea. I know at least Dr. Corvette can do it. Joey B can do it. Any of you guys out there who have a C8 Corvette Z06 or even access to one, send me a video of a cold start, and we're going to play them next Monday night. If you want to send them to me, you can Dropbox them to me at horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com, or my preferred method would be Google Drive. Same thing, horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com. And then just shoot me an email afterwards and let me know that you sent it, and I'll let you know that I got it. Peter says the battery won't last, it'll be dead in 5 minutes. So that is actually a myth. GM was very clear about this. They said that under normal track sessions, that the battery will recharge and will last for the majority of your track session, if not all of it. They said that the way that the battery charges and the way it handles itself is not something you're going to see the end of very often. BPR Z06 has a Z06. I didn't know that. He says, yeah, definitely send me one, guys. This will be an awesome way to get everybody involved. Not only that, it will let me know who has a Z06, because honestly, I don't know how many of you guys out there actually have a Z06. So it'll be pretty cool. And after that, maybe we'll move on to different exhaust setups. That'd be pretty neat. Yeah, guys, one last time, if you could, please smash that thumbs up button. We're definitely in need of some thumbs ups. They help the channel out a lot, guys. We really appreciate it. Will the E-Ray win automotive awards worldwide? I do think it will. Just like the Z06, GM is kind of on the, I don't want to say the cutting edge, but they're pretty close to they're doing things that other manufacturers aren't really doing right now. With the flat plane crank V8 making a ridiculous amount of horsepower out of a naturally aspirated engine, that's huge. Then they move on to the hybrid setup of the E-Ray, which for the most part no one's doing. You're either going full electric or you're sticking with internal combustion engine setups. GM's kind of playing with both of them, and they're doing it in a really interesting way, because they used a lightweight lithium-ion battery, and it's so lightweight that the difference in weight between the E-Ray and the Z06 could potentially be as low as 50 pounds. And if that's the case, I don't think anybody can fully understand how big of a deal that is. The battery technology, the biggest drawback of that is always the weight. And if GM managed to do this and only spend an extra 50 pounds on doing it, that's pretty awesome. Steven Rapp says he's got his wheels. Thanks for the hookup. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. This guy that's yawning over here is actually the one who hooked you up.
Yep.
How much did the C5 Z06 cost? Man, I'm assuming you're meaning brand new. I'm not actually sure, but I can tell you the C6 Z06, the one that I just bought, and that car new was almost $80,000 in 2008. Let that sink in for a second. Whenever I saw that, I was blown away that car cost almost 80 grand in 2008. Whenever I saw that, though, it almost kind of made me realize why the C8 Z06 is so expensive. Hanson Fam says, any word out there about the C8 price coming down so I can park one next to my C6? Based on what I've seen, the price of the C8 is coming down, and it's coming down pretty quick. So I was just telling a story about how I found one that was it was a 2020, so it's an older one, but it was loaded on options. It had everything, and it was $89,000 with 4,000 miles on it. Pretty interesting. So, Joe, again, the official release from GM was that the car weighs 50 pounds more than a Z06. So a Z06 with the Z07 package weighs 3,720
Wow.
pounds or something like that. And the C8 E-Ray weighs 3,778 or something. So it's like it's around a 50-pound difference between the E-Ray and the Z06 with the Z07 package. Now, that is on an official communication from GM to the dealerships. And I know I've heard other people say that the weight was different, but I don't know if that's comparing it to the base Z06, a base Stingray. I have no idea. With it compared to the Z06 with the Z07 package, it's a difference of 50 pounds based on what GM has officially said. But other than that, guys, the only other thing I wanted to show tonight was the fact that we kind of talked about this already, but that the Corvette did win the Performance Car of the Year. Motor Trend said that that obviously they chose that car to win over all of the other cars that were in the running, and so did Road and Track. So both companies chose the Z06 over all of the other cars. Like I said, they were, I believe it was Road and Track was testing it against a Lamborghini Huracan, a GT4 RS was in the running with one of them. It is a huge accomplishment for Chevrolet and the Corvette in general to win something like this. So, yeah. Like I said, if you guys are able to get a Z06 or even the E-Ray, you're getting a heck of a car. Bruno, might be the only time you ever hear me say it, but I'm thinking either I'm rooting for the Bengals or the Niners. Those are my teams. But was it you that said you had to go? Nope. Wheeler. See you later, Wheeler. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Great White North Corvette said, hi, Amber. She just walked in. She said hello. Z06 is ridiculously good. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. We're at our hour limit. But before we do, we got another Venmo. Let's check it out real quick. Looks like Jamie says, enjoy the show. Gave it a $20. So there's another $20. 2 entries towards the C8 radiator grill guards. That's awesome. Thank you for the support, guys. I really appreciate it.
Who's that? Jamie?
Jamie.
Who is it?
Yeah, I don't know actually.
Like,
Jamie, we need your
spell
screen
it?
name here, Jamie. Let us know which one you are over in the chat so we can get you added in. Yeah, Stephen Rapp. Excellent point. Excellent point. I feel like we don't talk about this too much on the channel, and we do. We have to. The C8 Corvette in general is an absolutely fantastic car. So when we're talking about the Z06 and we're talking about the E-Ray, you guys got to understand, we're talking about it because it's the newest thing. We're not discounting the C8 at all. I mean, obviously, Steve's got one sitting right behind him. The C8 is an amazing car. So if you can get any of these cars, if you can get a Corvette in general, you have an awesome piece of machinery at your fingertips that you could possibly be driving. So all Corvettes are awesome. We're simply talking about the ones that are making the news right now, and that's typically the C8 lineup. But if you can get your hands on a Corvette in general, it doesn't matter which one you got, you're doing good. I mean, I have technically an old car at this point. Mine's a ZR1, and I love that thing. So, yeah, guys, if we could hit that thumbs up one more time, we'd really appreciate any of the support. We are going to announce the winner of the giveaway on February 6th. So you have 2 more weeks after today to potentially enter to win the Scrape Armor Radiator Grill Guards. So definitely look forward to that. We did not get a name yet, have we, Steve?
No.
All right, so let me see here.
When
I
we're
got
off,
Jamie.
I'll take the name and put.
Jamie Diebler. If you're in the chat still here, Jamie, let me know what your screen name is. Just raise your hand and say it's me. Poll numbers. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. All right, guys. So we got 190 votes, so almost 200 votes. The Z06 wins by, it's at 65%. So 65-35 that want the Z06 over the E-Ray. That's pretty impressive. I'm going to go ahead and end that so you guys can see it. But yeah, so 65% of you want the Z06 over the E-Ray. Steven Rapp. He says, one day I'll learn Venmo. I'm going to get Steve on the phone with you, Steven. First off, that by itself is like a black hole.
You can make that call.
Steve. Yeah. We appreciate it, Steven. Thank you. You get 5 more entries into the Scrape Armor Radiator Grill Guards. I know you can actually use them too. So I have not seen the name yet, but just keep that name written down for now, Steve. We'll figure it out probably next Monday.
Okay.
But guys,
we talk afterwards.
What's that?
We'll talk afterwards. Okay.
Steven Rapp, thank you for the support. You're one of the big. Oh, we got one more. Good thing we didn't wrap it up yet. Matt Hurley, $49.99. Thank you, Matt. That will give you 5 entries into the Scrape Armor Radiator Grill Guards as well. Thank you, Matt, for the support. You guys really, really help out the channel. It's fantastic. We really appreciate it. Thank you. I also love my ZR1. Have a C8, but would not trade it for the ZR1. Exactly how I feel. I love the C8, but the ZR1 is it's just a different animal. And hopefully they can start to match that. I know the new C8 Z06 is kind of getting there, but we'll see what happens in the future. Carrie Glock says, hi, Amber and Onyx. Hello. Great stream. Okay. Stupid Fast Truck says, later. Great stream again. Thanks, guys. We are going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. Onyx wants to say goodbye, and then we are going to wrap this one up.
Jamie.
Oh, well, it's the same name. No wonder. Onyx saying bye.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. We will catch you next Monday night. Same time, same place. Wolf Doggy. All right, guys. Steven Rapp, thank you. We'll catch you guys next Monday night. Thanks again. Take it easy.